Well.
Hello, don't get up. Just before we get into the beats, beef and balls of episode 3 of the critically acclaimed and probably award-winning Nout Mattee podcast, we would like to extend a massive sloppy thank you to all of you for listening. You are already lovely, and you should tell yourself that in the mirror, if not only to see if you can make yourself appear. We are the hugging type, except Mecca, so join us in 1 or 2 hugs when you gander upon us next except Mecca. Pop a hand up your tappy and throw another bitch on the fire. You deserve it, you packing piece of slit, you slacking piece of fit, you fatting piece of backing me's of spatting piece of balls. You packing piece of slit, you slacking piece of fit, you fatting piece of backing me's of spatting piece of balls. You packing piece of slit, you slacking piece of fit, you fatting piece of backing me's of spatting piece of... Hello.
Welcome to Nout Mattee. I won't dwell on the thanks too much, although it's appreciated. Thanks for your ears and stuff. Really appreciate it. We've got Ian Beale, a regular tuner in, contactor. Not in that kind of way. Listener, a regular listener to the show. He's listened to 40 minutes of us. The Bromlemian cat dietitian, he was the one who posed the question, which fictional character would you batter? And he was impressed with your DW shout, by the way, Matt.
Yeah, well, she is very annoying. I actually me and Lucy sat and watched the intro to Arthur, and it got me going.
I think that's when she's at her most peak. Yeah. Annoying is when she's in that intro.
Well,
DW. Is it she say that when he falls backwards?
Yeah, he got, hey, DW.
So I've just realised I've not introduced 33.3% recurring of the people on the show today. Got my good friend Mr. Joe here.
Hi guys.
I thought best introduce you. The best way would be to get into your head and use the question posed by Ian Beale, the Bromlemian cat dietitian. Which fictional character do you find the most annoying? And probably it would lean towards Battery.
Tough question.
Yeah. Thank you, Ian Beale.
I'd probably say Chris Finch.
Oh yeah, good shout.
From The Office.
That's a great shout.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else in The Office that's a knobhead?
In the American Office, is it Robert California? I found him really annoying.
Oh yeah. I realised in the last one we didn't mention people. Oh no, we did. We mentioned Darth Maul, didn't we? I was going to say we didn't mention like Darth Vader. I'm trying to think of like the most.
Jar Jar Binks.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. See, good shout. Because I got down the path of just thinking of negative people there. I want to think of really fucking irritating people. Oh mate, the Meerkat compare the Meerkat adverts.
Yeah.
The oligarch Meerkat who's doing cheap car insurance.
And on that, the Go Compare guy.
But that's almost like a given. That's like when someone says, like, what's your favourite album by insert band who have one critically acclaimed album, and it's a given that that's the choice. I think that's your is it Desert Island Discs, where you get to go on the island with the complete works of Shakespeare and the Bible or something. That would be the complete works of Shakespeare. Who would be the other one? Who would be the Bible? Who's the other absolute given? Jar Jar Binks is up there for...
I was just thinking, do those like advert guys hang out? So like, is it Meerkat and the opera guy? Are they friends?
Do they hate each other because they're basically the same shtick? Like, would you opposites attract, where you'd have the Meerkat maybe hanging out with I don't know?
Is there a fraternity amongst advert characters?
But I'm thinking like you get all the same type 1s hanging out together. Like you'd have Barry Scott hanging out with
the guy from the Mr. Muscle Up.
Yeah, precisely. Mr. Sheen as well, who's kind of like on the edge of it, but he's still there on his own credit. He's the superhero equivalent of having a cathedral at a university in him, and it makes him a city. So yeah, I think that question could run and run. I'm thinking we use that as the best introductory to meet new people.
Yeah.
Along with... So, to give a little bit more context to how we know Joe, known him years. So, continuing on with the stupid questions, you might have heard in the first one, because Joe's also been kind enough to listen to us for 40-50 minutes previously.
Yeah,
the 3 soft guys versus 1 hard guy debate. It's been surfing
for a while.
Yeah, it's been surfing the nation.
I'm going to have to go for, I think, the hard guy.
Yeah?
I think a hard guy could beat three soft guys.
Go on, why is are you confident, or is that kind of like, maybe, you might?
Well, I kind of think like soft guys, like, I've never been in a fight, no, so I kind of guess that I'm a soft guy. And if someone like attacked me, and it was with two of my friends who were also soft guys, I kind of get the impression that I don't think we would be able to like stop it from happening.
So we actually are able to use the example now of three relatively soft guys. I don't think we're soft. I think we could like, but even using us then as the examples, who'd be the hard guy?
I'd have to. I don't know. Like Phil Mitchell's a pretty good shout.
He is, yeah. It's a good. I tell you what. Let's go with Barry Scott.
Barry Scott
from Sillet Bang. No, he's not hard, is he? He's all Mr. Sheen and no shit. Yeah, go on. Stick with Phil Mitchell. Could Phil Mitchell batter us in his prime? Say like his late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah, before he was drinking all the time.
Yeah. Before that became his character arc. So,
I think we'd have him, definitely.
So he picks on any one of us, and then the other two go in and be like, "Nah, mate, you can't do that." Or do we all?
I guess it comes down to how many punches you can take as well. Like, how many punches would it take for him to beat us?
And how quick can he punch?
Yeah,
because he's in his prime. He's like,
one of us is maybe in this scenario. One of us is going to have to take a punch, so the other two can then get him.
It's not even a question. We're all going to take several punches in this scenario. Yeah. Phil Mitchell in his prime. Yeah, you might be right. I think it's not a cert every time, but I think you probably got like 30-70%, like that sort of chance. I think he's going to win the 70% of the time. If we all start afresh each time. KO. Like, right, this time, guys. He went for you first. He keeps going for you first, Macca, for some reason. He really doesn't like you.
Just like I said the other week, in with the haymaker straight.
Who was that on again? Oh, it was Norris, wasn't it?
Norris.
No, it's Roy Walker.
I did think of a better one for those three, because I've never been happy with that line for the three soft men. But Dale Winton.
Oh yeah. Again, I think he's like he's the cathedral and university of soft men, isn't he? Though I guess.
What about Louis Theroux? I kind of thought he was kind of like he's kind of a soft guy.
Yeah, he's kind of in a kind of softer Brian Cox version, isn't he?
Yeah,
as well,
and he's really smarmy as well. So that would, I guess,
he's
that
a
would
bit.
Be,
He can be.
Tough guys might be.
Oh, you mean like there'd be an extra 5% of anger?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it would. So you're kind of sticking firmly with the hard guy then, I suppose. That's the fair shout. I think.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. If I'm honest, I've got no idea.
I'll edit it so you did say you would. Right, I've got chapter 2 of my Spooky Wooky story here if you're interested in hearing it, guys.
I'm interested.
Yeah?
Get a little nervous.
You fucking should be, mate. Oh, Dawn, it's getting to me now. Did you happen to hear part 1 then, Joe?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty scary, isn't it? So I got Matty, the fish detective from Dogsborough, got in touch and said he'd had so many willies put up him, he had to go away and eat. So, well, for the benefit of those anyway who don't know it, and just to recap, our as yet nameless protagonist has been whisked off to a pet cemetery with a ghost as friendly as a dead TV presenter. TV as in television, not necessarily transvestite. When we left them, the nameless character, not the ghost, had pulled the tail of a huge red-haired beast, thinking it was either a stick or a length of turd. This knocked the nameless person out somehow, not sure why, and we left a story with them passed out on the floor. Oh yeah, and the nameless person is you. Not specifically you, but it's just that because I used the first person who had some really severe tension. So, are you ready for some pre-bed tears and a kiss on the soul from Satan himself?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, tell your heartbeat that then. You awake with a judder, instantly in the knowledge that your name is Tony, you unisexually remember nominatively. Sometimes it's easy to forget your name on Christmas Day, particularly as it's been a good few years since you last needed to introduce yourself on December the 25th, and most of your family spend a lot of the day remembering who you are anyway, but not in an arrogant, say my name bitch kind of way. They just know you pretty well, so haven't asked what your name is in ages. Maybe they'd forgotten it and were too proud to ask. In fact, some of your family have never actually asked your name. Some of them just seem to know it, even before you were born. The creep of this thought sends a chill of pure dick down your spine, before bringing you back into the room with a metaphorical thud and a literal piss-shit combo. This isn't a pet cemetery, you say aloud, expositionally, as you fall asleep instantly due to it being a bit of a busy day. But then, as predictable as regret after an evening of pissed-up carol singing in a Klansman's gown, you wake up feeling anxious because the busyness of the day makes it feel like you've got stuff on but you don't. Feeling like you've missed an alarm, you, still called Tony, notice the sterile, blank ambience of the room, much like that of an obsessive-compulsive sperm bank. There's an intensely bright light emanating from the light brightly. It fills the room with a light as bright as that rhyme casting the aforementioned over a stack of shitty Johnnies in the corner. There are too many in one place for it to be a coincidence, so you chalk it up to eccentricity and instantly forget about it. It's then that you spot another pile of shitty Johnnies in the exact same corner. How can this be, you don't think, as you remember you'd forgotten about the first pile of shitty sheaves, which was such a ferocity that you didn't realise it was the same stack of cum-catching baby stoppers. This time you move in to take a closer look and a much closer smell. It's reminiscent of the post-sex waft of a night spent banging with the windows closed with no through draft, so you stoop for a third sniff. As you stamp, your ankles contract, but they weren't going into labour, so no ripped perineum for you tonight. You spot something that looks uncomfortably like the red beast from the last chapter shackled to your legs. It was the red beast, this time, in this chapter. And it was asleep and snory, well, either asleep and snory, or just staring at the inside of its eyelids and breathing with a gusto that suggested he was getting off on it like a shagged up chastity swan businessman at a Virgin's 18th. And I mean business. And so did the beast. You can feel the beast. You can feel the beast's hot swelling balls pulsating up against your legs, but were they balls? Perhaps they were mammary glands, you write down, or mummery if you're not from the north. Either way, you needed out of here and quickly lickety-split, for your name was Tony. You find the key right next to you and let yourself out easily. Finally, Cub Scouts was coming in handy, your brain thinks, but you don't agree with her. You'd hated Cub Scouts since you tried sticking your dick in a woggle. An experience that had started your dangerous and often expensive sawn-off drainpipe banging addiction. Plus you got battered by a Kayla once, but you look back on that with a blood-curdling fondness. You stumble upwards and notice it's hard to stand, or at least a bit harder than usual. But but they can't have. They wouldn't. They had. They'd sewn up your ass. Sorry. They'd sewn up your ass. You let out a scared little bum blessing, but all it makes is a subdued hamster sphinctoral squeak. Only dogs could hear that, you laugh, coping rather well considering the pretty fucking ridiculous situation. But it wasn't only dogs that could hear it. Red beasts could hear it too. This red beast opens its come-to-bed eyes, making eye contact with where your brown one once winked, and it lets out a grin as loud as a 7 a.m. builder's whistle. A grin to bring down governments. You tumble backwards, but not backwards like the politically incorrect word, but backwards as in not forwards, and by forwards I don't mean innovative. How I wish I didst. The last thing you feel is your sore arse skidding to a standstill as you continue your politically correct fall backwards before passing out like a bastard or bitch. So that marks the end of chapter 2, guys. How are you feeling after that?
Shock to the car.
Jesus. You really?
That bad?
How about you?
Emotionally drained.
My God. I'm still pretty shocked to just be in your guys' presence.
God.
I'm thinking I'll call that chapter admittedly a fair amount of padding, but its intentions are honest, unless you have any better suggestions. A thought and not. Well, that's it for another eek. Did I say eek? I meant weak, spelt with an A instead of an E. So keep your dreams in the leather satchel of freedom and sleep with Skype watching your smile, for sleep is but a scream away when the teeth have been brushed.
I noticed a tendency for this program to get rather silly. Now, I do my best to keep things moving along, but I'm not having things getting silly.
Enjoyment not included. Enjoyment not included. As life passes you by, it gets harder and softer to make time for the ones you love. Gone are the days of naked football with the neighbourhood dog wardens, or being able to walk into a pub and smoke a bifter with your grandkids. Now, in this fast, piss yourself for 10% off your tax bill paced world, it can be easy to forget the better times. The wet and wild times. The dry and tame times. All the times where your top flew off. Those times that ultimately resulted in other people's families having a worse time than yours. Times where you got credit for stuff you didn't do. All those times where automatic doors opened for you and not the other way around. Right on time, left stuck in time, forwards in time, and back in my time when beef counted as a vegetable. Back when Yorkshire puddings needed to be from the Yorkshire region of France. Back when eggs were eggs and everybody knew to capitalise the days of the week or the O in o'clock. Back when dog shit could be both brown and white, threatened to blind you but never had the stones. Back before it was all corn and plug hair. These are the times I know I look back on, but let go of the past times and sniff forwards to the not so pasty bits. With over 70% of people affected by death on a lifetimely basis, you can be sure that your time is running out quicker than the number of breaths you wish you had left. But don't dismay. With Sergeant Snog's pre-purgatory party pack, you have the answer. Simply send over the 16-digit across the front of your bank card, CSV code, mother's maiden name, and whatever other information you wouldn't usually just hand out to noutmatters@gmail.com, and we'll heal, do the rest. Don't die with nothing to look forward to. Die alright. Not included. So we've got a message from Stephen, a Carney choreographer from Flaff. He was asking the question, if Netto reappeared, do you think it would have the povo stigma that it had back in the day?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Firstly, like, that povo stigma was awful as well. Like, kids at school who were referred to as Netto.
Yeah. Oh, what really referred to as?
Yeah,
Netto?
like
really?
Oh, hey, Netto.
Oh God, I remember Tesco two-stripes been a thing.
Yeah.
Full disclosure here, my family were actually Netto shoppers. So.
Yeah, as was my mother.
Yeah,
or mum, as she's known. Yeah, no, I remember someone finding like Netto on the bottom of like something like I had in the garden. Or like, do you shop at Netto? And I said, inevitably said no. And then, well, yeah, you do, and showed the fish on the bottom or whatever with the thing. And I was like, oh no, there goes my street cred for 30 minutes.
Well, maybe they've improved it a little bit. Like if they were to reopen, like a bit like different branding and stuff, maybe it would be a bit like Aldi, a little bit more.
This is it. I think it's fine, isn't it?
Yeah,
I suppose now.
I kind of feel like having grown up shopping at those shops, that now that they've all like come like full circle, it's kind of like a little like whenever I go in, I was like, yes,
yeah, I'm allowed to save money.
Not everyone shops here.
But if you can't use that now, what do kids use? Like that kind
of Netto.
Yeah. Oh well.
I once heard someone insult someone. It was your dad's so poor, he owns Netto.
Yeah. See, when I got that question, that was the first thing I thought of. Was that anecdote? Was that dude who said that?
We used to have a guy at school who had had a mullet, and
Good start.
they used to call him Ken Riley. And for those of you who don't know, that's a barbershop in Barrow, like a classic.
Ken Riley.
But giving people those names like based on just on appearance, but like what a good little link, Ken Riley.
Yeah.
And then eventually I think it was shot to Ken, and then everybody called him Ken for ages.
Excellent. He was a bloody good hairdresser though.
Have we all been to Ken Riley's then?
Definitely.
Yeah. When I was a kid, for sure.
I remember I went to another one and got like a scabby head. Yeah, it was well annoying.
I got my hair cut a few years ago, and the woman slipped. I had a little skin tag on the back of my neck, and she was using the clippers, and it came off. And she was like, she was using the clippers, and it came off. And she was like, she was using the clippers, and it came off. And she was like, I've just cut you. And I was like, all right. And then she should put a plaster on it and like carried on. But cut it off.
That's probably all mashed into the spokes, the razor, and
probably you got a
yeah.
Was it the one on the road?
It wasn't actually. It's that guy by.
Nice try, listeners, but your heroes aren't going to give you that information. But needless to say, it hurt like a perfectly weighted bitch. Let's get back to the show.
Richie Rich.
Another question: Is it big-headed to call whatever your company is or services? Is it big-headed to call it after yourself?
I love seeing businesses that are called just stuff like Sally. I just have like the business has like a really normal name. Like, Ken Riley doesn't count because that is just the guy's name. But like, I can't. No, I've seen loads and I can't think of any. Sally's a good example though. To be fair.
Yeah, but then like when people do it for like builders and stuff, like I don't know, whatever, joiners, and the name, like I don't think that's weird. I think that's okay. It's not big-headed.
So I think that makes sense when you're dealing with like a kind of like a one-on-one or a guy who has a team of about however many.
Yeah.
And they're just named after the guy. But a thing where it is just a shop called Sally. I've got Sally stuck in my head. That does like hair accessories and like it's a
Claire's.
Yeah, I think so. But I think that's my understanding of what's in the window. So yeah, I think at that point, I think that is big-headed, but no one thinks, are you the Sally? Are you the Sally? Oh my god. Like, if you heard Ken Riley, you'd be like, that's too much of a coincidence to not be that guy who owns all the hair clips.
Hi, I'm Sally, that's my,
of Sally face.
Sally face.
I wonder if the owner of Fat Face has got a fat face.
That's a good question. What about Fat Willie's Surf Shack? I wonder if he's got his own surf shack, if you know what I'm saying. Sorry.
Do you think it's big-headed to have?
No, I was just asking a question.
It's a good question. What do you think? What would be the point when it is big-headed, though?
I don't know. I kind of think it's kind of. Is it lazy? Is it kind of like? I guess if you've got a trade, if you're like a joiner, you're gonna call yourself like. What would you call yourself? Like Magnum. Magnum joiners.
Yeah.
You're gonna call yourself Charmleys, aren't you?
Yeah. It's a dick polish.
Apologies if there's any joiners called Charmleys listening.
Yeah.
Well, like
against you.
Trump Tower.
Yeah,
that's it at the extreme. I've got it had
Trump
names.
Tower. Yeah, when it's gold and shit.
Isn't it? Surely, like to a certain degree.
In that situation, yeah, definitely.
Trump Tower.
That's just wanting to be remembered and doing anything to get remembered, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that the address though, or is it like Trump Tower, 123, something Street, New York, or is it like Trump? Or is it Trump Plaza?
Oh, I think you could probably.
Has he got a whole area of the city like named after him?
I think you could probably just say Trump Tower and you know roughly whereabouts it is. So you could write that on a note here, and it probably wouldn't make its way, would it? Stop being stupid.
Well, you could go even more extreme with like in Richie Rich with Mount Richmore when they have their heads.
Did you know Donald Trump was Donald Trump in Richie Rich, or was it Home Alone?
Home Alone.
Because apparently loads of films have used Trump Towers as kind of like the generic. This is a rich place that this person's in, and he insists on being in it like it's a fame thing.
Well, it was definitely in Home Alone because I think he did own the Plaza Hotel in New York, so that was good.
But a lot of these films have cut him out, which is great. No problem. You'll definitely film. Yeah, why are you putting the emphasis on the word film? We'll film you then.
No one wants to be tied with a trunk brush.
You don't know. Stinks. You ever banged your daughter, Macca?
I don't have one.
The answer's no, then. There's something so weird about it. You're making it awkward now, Macca.
Right, just once. So we were talking about the podcast last week and reflecting on it a little bit and thinking, are we just two guys sat here moaning about stuff? Well, and now three tonight. Are we like three guys sat moaning about stuff?
I think, yeah, we are. And apparently talking a lot about fighting, which has never even come across.
But no, so it's a weird thing. You don't want to come across like you're just moaning and hating on people, and like we just hate on everybody equally. So it's
yeah. There's a lot of hate to go around. No, it's because people are. Well, I mentioned this in. Did I mention this in the first podcast or something? So people are kind of generally trying, aren't they? And people can't help but be annoying. Like everything that if it's not instantly, if someone isn't behaving in a way that's somehow telepathically in line with the way that you want someone to walk or move or whatever, then it's a bit annoying. Yeah. And three of them in a row, and then it's right. This is annoying now. Annoying actually.
But yeah, I think very, very few people are intentionally annoying, aren't they? I think.
Yeah. So what was the last thing that you can think of today that annoyed you? I'm trying to think like what it had been.
No, I had to drive down to work this evening, and they've got like number plate recognition things on the car park, so that you have to like you've only got 20 minutes, or you've got to ring and register your car, or like you get fined. And so I took the car down. I was going to be there for a bit, so I rang the thing, and there was nobody. There was nobody answering the phone, so then I had to go and park outside of White Cross on the street, but like try to find a park on the street, even though I only lived like 5 minutes away.
Yeah, it would have just been easy to walk. Why did you drive?
I had to take my base and stuff down to work.
To have a jam at work.
One of those
situations. Or you digital companies.
But no, that was the last thing today that annoyed me. Not really aimed at a specific person, I guess, because I don't know who was on the end of the phone. Knowing that they weren't there.
But when I see them, I'm going to give them a piece of my mind. People on trains. We've kind of feel like this is being done. This people on trains, because this is the whole thing.
Because it's a source. But it's a source of frustration. You're doing it every day. And then you're bound to encounter new annoyances.
It does take up half an hour at least a day. So, and then you're on the platform as well, and then you're around people, and people watch you, observing what people do, and you're like, really, are you doing that? Like, why are you doing that? Like, there's a guy who always gets on the train at Lancaster. When I get a specific train, he's always on that particular train, and he goes straight for the toilet on the train, and he's in there for a long period of time. And there's been a couple of times when I've gone in after him, and it's disgusting. Which, I mean, I've chatted about this before, about how it's just ridiculous having the flush button behind the toilet, because how can you get rid of a courtesy flush? You are just leaving a detritus to chuck its spores up into the air because without the courtesy flush. So you kind of can't help that. But for me, it becomes dead rude when you're always going straight to the toilet and you see the same people there, and see some people go in the toilet after that you get the train with you. I think you can't need the toilet at exactly the same time.
That's what I was going to ask. Do you go in the same order? So like, does the same guy go before you?
Well, I avoid it now because it annoys me, because he also.
So you're the one that mixes it up then.
But then maybe you annoy them because you're always there as well.
I'm not getting in their way, and if anything, I'm getting out of their way. They're getting in my face. No, I try to avoid being stood, because if it's a Virgin train, people are always like fighting to get a seat, which I get, but when you go into Preston, it's pointless. So I just stand in the vestibule bit. I'm using vestibule because you called it a vestibule a couple of weeks ago.
It's a nice word to say.
It is a very pleasant word to say. I associate it with churches. But yeah, if you stood in the one that has that toilet door open, it stinks of shit inevitably. Like there's toilet doors now on Virgin trains that you can't even close from the outside. So what do you do then? You literally have to let it smell of shit. Or piss. Oh, it stinks of piss. Oh, it smells of clean hands. And right, now we're on it, fucking Virgin trains. Their sinks have a dryer, water and Soap, thank you. Yeah, soap. I shouldn't have clicked. No, but yeah, so they have like the holy trinity of soap, air blowing on it and water. They have them close enough so that when you use the soap and the water, you'd have to be stood on the toilet and crouched. So you at one of you don't have a rogue arm covering the fan or whatever that activates the fan, and then when you're washing your hand, you end up with soap blowing around. My hands were wetter when that fan thing went on than they were when I was just washing them. It was ridiculous. It was like I don't know how it did it. Maybe that's what it's for. Maybe it's science. You can stop that now. Seriously. Just fucking stop it. We interrupt this ridiculously long news bulletin intro to bring you this special news broadcast. Former TV presenter, convicted mail order felon and Orangeophile David Dickinson has been found alive this evening. Enjoying his life outside of television, despite still being active according to Wikipedia, David, or Bonkathon as he's known to those attached to his radiators, began life aged 30, increasing in age at the same rate as everyone else. When asked about his appearance, he said, "What's this about?" Stood there for a minute, said, "Hello?" but with a question mark on the end, and then kind of furrowed his brow, raised his hand palm up, and shook his head in a simultaneous confused motion and sprinted off at full pelt. Never without illegal ammunition in his handbag, Bonkathon passed away aged 30 still. When questioned, he had this to say. Run to the hills. Run for your lives. Run to the hills. Run for your lives.
Hey, don't you dare even think about it. This is my hair. Price $2.75. I think that's a good price. Now, you know I'm a good guy. I'm going to send them the long way around to the auction. And apparently they executed him. Now, he'd been hiding under a bridge not far from here. Something I have never seen. No local bride passes over that hair. One word of advice though, do not stare at the head. They have a very, very funny effect on the eyes. Well, I think I've got just what you need. Have a look at that. I think it's cheap as chips. Get those cucumber sandwiches out. I'll be round for tea.
No, we're not moaning about people all the time. We're not being negative. So we said, well, actually, let's turn on its head and why people are good. And I guess we were just thinking about then, like, good deeds. I think that's a good thing.
Is that just like the beacon of obvious good stuff though? Because there's lots of intrinsic qualities, I guess, in humans that are kind of pretty good. Like the fact that people generally try not to get in other people's way because you know it's probably at least a little bit inconvenient, whether or not it annoys them or not. I guess depends on the individual.
Yeah, I wouldn't even necessarily see it as I wouldn't see it as a good deed, but when somebody stands up for themselves because they, like, I don't know, in like a busy train or something when arsey and stuff, like, it's not necessarily a good deed, but like that's good. Do you know what I mean? It's good. It's a
good trait of humans.
Back to the trains again.
But good deeds on trains. People stand up for people. Yeah. People also turn a blind eye. I guess is what I was thinking.
Not more.
Yeah, people
do.
Guys,
let's try and keep it positive.
I'm just saying, there's like for every negative, there's a positive as well, isn't there?
When was the last time you did something where you thought that was a good deed?
It's a bit gauche to talk about doing little charitable bits and stuff, isn't it? Like doing little good things you do.
Well, I mean, there was Lucy's thing, and that was definitely her putting all the effort in.
Yeah.
But, I helped out with that for the Alzheimer's cake day thing.
Absolutely.
And plenty of people took part in that, even just by buying cake. So I think that's been good.
Yeah. How about yourself? What was the last?
Good question.
You saved that bird.
Yeah.
Over the weekend, for the context of the...
Saved the shit out of a bird.
Yeah.
All day.
Yeah. Didn't look like it might make it, and then did.
Yeah.
Not a bird that he made.
Tried to feed it, wouldn't have it. Got my stick out.
Smacked some food into its face.
Yeah. Yeah. Then I set the cat on it and it flew away.
Yeah. Good deed done. The GDD, as they say.
I just didn't want a dead bird on my hands.
Yeah. Or in your garden.
For every good deed, there's a sinister.
Sinister motive.
Sinister, that's it.
Yeah.
Ulterior motive.
Oh, I think I prefer sinister. There's a lot more Gandhi.
Just walk out the yard, pick it up, throw it over next door.
Yeah. Grab it by the head, twist it around a little bit, just chuck it as far as you can.
I think it flew.
Yeah.
I hope it flew.
It bounced off that thing upwards.
I'd be fine.
You'll be right. It's a bird.
Birds bounce, don't they?
Yeah, yeah.
Angry birds taught me that.
And they hate pigs. So, other good things that humans have... I think just generally not being a bastard most of the time. I think you could say that about most people, can't you? People generally aren't bastards.
No.
You get
very few people who are intentionally malicious, I think.
Yeah. They're in the elite. The 1%, you could say. Yeah.
It's like that feeling, like when you go in somewhere, you're in a bit of a rush and you see a door and then you forget to check if it's pull or push.
Right.
And then as you approach it, you think, shit, pull on, I'm pushing.
Yeah.
But it pulls all the same.
Yeah, it's a good feeling.
It's a good feeling.
It's the cathedral and university of feelings, isn't it?
Things like that, when you see people do things like that, that's good. Like, nobody's hurt, but they do something funny and you watch it and you see them notice, and sometimes they see you notice them.
It's better, when you lock eyes with someone and you go like...
Yeah, I know.
You both just... something just happened and only you and the two people that know about it.
Yeah. I usually just look at him and go, mouth, if you fucking tell anyone with a finger cutting across the throat. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna smack you.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that all the good human qualities then? Is that all we've been able to think of?
Yeah.
I think we were
Fighting qualities.
Yeah. General. Yeah. Fist ability. Can be misconstrued what I meant by that though.
Well, I think we might have exhausted all goodness for this week, so
yeah. Yeah, I think I'm feeling a bit drained.
Might be time. Yeah, might be time to wrap it up.
To hit the hay.
To hit the hay, as they say.
We've decided we're going to spend tonight in the same bed. We think it'll make the podcast tighter for next week.
Yeah, bring us closer together.
Yeah, well, me and Joe at least. I've been looking for an excuse to do this for ages. Say goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.
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 Goodbye.